Hello everyone, this is Coffee and welcome to the first, really big update of 2023. So we're closing out the first quarter of 2023 and I thought now would be about a good time to make an update on basically everything. So in this video we're going to be talking about the channel, the films I'm doing and all that other stuff and stuff going forward. So the first thing, let's talk about the channel itself and the channel name, the branding and all that. Firstly, I have been dwelling on this for a while. I've not really spoken about it to anyone. This is kind of my own decision, but I think I'm going to bring Hypozilla back. Now, I'm not going to be Hypozilla and everything. I believe that this main channel should be Hypozilla. Hypozilla's, where I have all of my films and all that kind of jazz. And I think Hypozilla is the right place to put it. Now, hold your horses. You might think that, hey, I kind of like the Coffee Shogun. I don't want that to go. And it won't. Trust me, it won't. I don't plan on killing Coffee Shogun anytime soon. It's just that Hypozilla's kind of alive again. And, well, I thought it'd be better to rebrand Coffee Shogun back to Hypozilla for this main channel. And Coffee Shogun will be a pretty different thing that I'm going to do at some other point in time. The reason why is pretty simple. I want Hypozilla to be the place where all my films, series, that sort of stuff is made, and separate it from Coffee Shogun, and not make everything feel so cramped, if that makes sense. It also allows for, places to be more... It also allows for more organization, and it also means I can do, more... It also means I can stick to one name while having a different name for something else. Now, yes, I will admit, part of this is factoring in the amount of growth I had last year compared to 2021 and 2020 and 2019. It was easily my worst year subscriber-wise and all that sort of stuff compared to, well, pretty much right next to 2018. And 2017 and 2016. Now, for me personally, I think that's not amazing. All in all, I don't really care about, the subscriber count and all that. I just want to make stuff that people will enjoy. But I also want people to see this stuff, which is where I bring in the viewer count for 2022. And overall, that had a pretty consistent view count of over 100, with my best performing video in 2022, I believe, being the Godzilla Dynasty second trailer video, which I don't know why that was such a popular video, or trailer. I believe trailer 1 is better. But, well, there you go. So that's really about it for the channel side of things. Overall, I think this will actually be a good decision in the long run. I really want to grow this channel more, and I also want to be more consistent, and I want to have a sort of upload schedule, whether that's, showing progress of stuff I like, compared or I'm working on compared to, you know, a channel where I can also be just as consistent, maybe. But I upload more variety content. Probably sticking to gaming, really. I believe it's time to talk films, and of course I'm going to specifically talk about Dynasty, and this is going to be the main talking point of this video. Where the hell is Godzilla Dynasty? It's been nearly 6 months since the last trailer, and I've not made a real update. Well, it's still being worked on, that's all I can say. I hope we can get it out by the end of March, which, by the way, this would be the, I think, around the time of the 1 year anniversary since I first started production on Godzilla Dynasty, which would also be around the time of a year since I got this phone that I'm currently recording off of. Now, a final trailer was meant to come out at one point. Hopefully it still will, but mainly we've just been trying to get the film done, and perfectionist brains are kind of, you know, a bit flippity-floppity. Now, we know we're not going to create a masterpiece out of this, and we don't want anyone to think that it will be a masterpiece. We just want to make a film that is, at the very least, enjoyable. That's not to say that I will, you know, every film in the Dynastyverse is going to have this consistent trend of mediocrity. I'm not saying Dynasty will be mediocre. I'm saying that, you know, it's not going to be a masterpiece or anything like that. For the future films, for the, you know, the Ghidorah film, the King Kong film, the Mechagodzilla series, and the other two main Godzilla films, which is Attack of the Hydra and Siege, those films have so much more scope, they're so much bigger, and I have learned so much through writing and set design and, you know, camera angles and photography and all that sort of stuff. I've learned so much of that in the past year compared to the past, you know, 5 years when I was starting Dynasty. And of course, me personally, I think that is a great thing, because I have learned a lot since beginning Dynasty. And while I do wish I could incorporate some of that stuff into Dynasty, I know that I won't be able to, and so to make up for that, in a way, I want to make the next films so much better. They're going to look amazing. You know, there are certain shots for different films that I've planned, which, you know, I want to, well, at least try and get to Kaijudzilla scale in terms of the cinematography and all that. I recently just watched Blade Runner 2049, and that film is, I'd say, god tier in terms of its cinematography and the colour grading and the colour themes. It's a great film to study for, again, cinematography and colour theory, which I might be colourblind, but I have friends which aren't colourblind. But yeah, I'm kind of having a bit of a ramble here, aren't I? This film is kind of still a headache, though. Dynasty, I mean, specifically, with just its editing and the fact that we do want it done. It's just taken a long ass time. But once it's done, it'll come out, and we hope everyone at the very least enjoys it. And after that, I plan on, and after that it'll be spring, so weather should be warming up. Might be a bit windier, but I do want to start making the King Kong film finally, and then the Ghidorah film, which I can do some bits of the Ghidorah film anyway, which will be pretty fun, you know? I have wanted to make the Ghidorah film for a very long time, and along with the Kong film, you know, I've had a lot of trouble specifically with the King Kong film, but at the very least, you know, to finally work on it, I think that's pretty good. Last bit of, well, Dynasty verse stuff. Like I said, this is more of a, you know, to summarize and talk about potential release dates. We hope to get Dynasty out by the end of the month. We set out a little bit of a personal challenge. We won't mention it, but it's a bit of a, it's kind of a petty challenge, if anything. But we hope to get Dynasty out before the end of the month. We for the King Kong and Ghidorah films specifically, since those are the two films I'm working on next, and as soon as I can, I'm going to start production on Attack of the Hydra, which will be awesome. I can't wait. I mean, I cannot wait to work on that film. It's going to be amazing. But for the Kong film and the Ghidorah film, plan on working on those around, well, as soon as I can, but hopefully around April, May time, and get those out whenever they're done. They're short films, 10, 12 minutes each, so hopefully it's not too bad. Not saying anything on Attack of the Hydra. Attack of the Hydra is arguably the biggest film in the main Godzilla trilogy. There is a lot in it, and it's basically making everything work. Which, once I start working on that, I'll reveal more details. But for now, I'm going to be really vague and say, can't wait to work on it. And it should come out, like, hopefully, early 2024? Maybe. So, drawing to a close on the news, well, updates and all that, I want to quickly talk about the Adventure with Godzilla film. Well, I'd say film, but it's more of a project, interactive adventure. We're working on that. I've actually made one poster, and filming hasn't started yet, but it's looking to be a pretty big story. We so far we've planned like 14 different endings, so it's kind of like, you know, hopefully everyone tunes in. You know, there's going to be some really fun endings, there's going to be some pretty bizarre ones, there's going to be some sad ones, of course, and there's going to be the main endings and that sort of jazz. So that'll be worked on as soon as I'm finished scripting it, which it's the first time I'm writing something like this. I've always wanted to do an interactive adventure, so good that I'm finally doing it. And to wrap up, Transformers Matrix. I'm currently still practicing stop motion. I want to kind of perfect stop motion a little bit. I want to, you know, learn walking animations and that sort of thing before I really, you know, throw myself in, because I was going to film a little while ago and it dawned on me that I'm throwing myself into the deep end. I'd rather, you know, wade in the shallow part and, you know, find my feet before I, you know, go deeper and properly work on it. But Matrix will still hopefully come out this year. If not this year, then next year. But still, I'll be working on it regardless. So, not really got much else to say in the news part. Oh, and one more thing before I forget. So, there are 2 monsters revealed for the Dynastyverse, which are drawn by my friend Zach. And here they are. we have Ghidorah, and we have Anguirus, also under the name Pangurus, because we kind of based him off of a pangolin. Of course, we were going for something very cutesy, adorable with Anguirus. More details about him will be revealed in the King Kong vs. Godzilla film, which, you know, kind of shows Anguirus a little bit. Won't say how exactly, but you know. And then we have King Ghidorah. This is just one of his heads. It's not his full body or anything. So it's kind of just still a teaser. But you can kind of see his head. We wanted him to look as alien as possible. So we went for a blend between the MonsterVerse design, the anime Ghidorah design, and also some Chinese dragons to give him more of a intelligent, wise, but very ruthless and cunning character. So can't wait for you to see both of these in action, especially Ghidorah. He is a very, very ruthless incarnation of the character. He is very sadistic, he is brutal, and he has a big brother. So, yeah. So that's going to be it for this video. Basically, like and subscribe and comment if, well, you don't have to comment, but like and subscribe, please. It actually helps me a lot. It helps my ego, and it makes me think I'm better than everyone else, because of course. Like and subscribe anyway. And lastly, very, very, very last thing, hopefully videos are going to be more consistent from here on out. I'm going to try and get at least a couple videos out a week, which should at the very least double the amount of videos made from 2021 and 2022. So if we can get at least 80 videos done this year, that'd be great, because that means I'd have doubled the amount of videos I made in those past 2 years alone. Anyway, that's going to outdo me. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.